everyone, this is Noreen from Pacific Rim Video, and I am here with the first YouTube influencer, Filipino comedian, and I am just so excited to be able to interview her. This is Christine Gambito, aka HappySlip. Hello, Christine.
Hello everyone.
Christine, what brings you here to Southern California?
Oh, well, I'm on tour for the first time, my first independent tour, comedy tour. And what's cool is I just finished up, I think it's the 7th show on it, just on a string of 4 in SoCal. And so we got a sold out show tonight, Ontario Improv. And I just went out on a leap of faith to try my own independent tour, renting out theaters and possibly renting out an improv, but then they're the one that reached out to me saying, would you like to headline at some of our clubs? So yeah, this roller coaster's going, baby. I'm so cheesy. Why am I so cheesy?
I love it. Did you ever envision yourself doing this, like going on tour ever since HappySlip?
Not really. I mean, if you would have asked me right in the very beginning about stand-up, people would say, yeah, do you perform live? Would you do stand-up? And when I think of stand-up comedy back then, I would think of like smoky bars and clubs where people are cussing and it's just, I just thought maybe that's not my scene. Okay. And I didn't think I would be accepted to try to, hey, anyone want to hear impressions of my family? Like go to a comedy club and people be like I'm going to go do open mic and do that? No, I didn't think it was my scene. But little did I know that after building a following online, and then I would be invited to go and perform at different functions and different events. And then I thought, well, I got used to doing the comedy live. And then I thought, what if I just launched out and did my own tour at this point? Yeah, so, bringing it back to the roots, because that's what it started as. The comedy really was, stand-up comedy in front of the family. So I enjoy it more than doing videos.
Really? That's incredible. How that all just went full circle for you. Now, for those who are just learning about HappySlip, can you tell them a little bit about HappySlip's background, like how you got started with HappySlip? And what is HappySlip?
Oh, for sure. I have to always explain that because it's the screen name that I came up with back in 2006 when I started my channel. And I just saw it as an opportunity to do a one-woman show and do all my characters and my little sitcom that I would do for the family anyway. And so I thought, well, here, YouTube's relatively new. There's only cat videos and prank videos on here. And what if I did my skits? And so I came up with that idea to do that one-woman show, but what was I going to call it? What was the channel going to be called? So then I said, let me have a funny memory from the past. And I said, maybe, that would reflect the type and nature of the video. So a lot of what I do is based on the culture clash between growing up in a Filipino house and facing an American world. So I thought of how my mom would always say, be sure to wear your HappySlip, which is half slip, but the way you should pronounce it is HappySlip. You don't want to say anyone to see through. You don't want the light to, okay, you have to, So, but I grew up literally thinking it was spelled happy slip. So I'd go to school and be like, I forgot to wear my HappySlip. And then friends would be like, do you have a sad slip too? So that is the term, that it's a funny memory, but at the same time, I wanted it to serve a dual purpose, which means I want people to slip into happiness when they watch the videos. So that's why I came up with that. So YouTube OG days, I was one of the first paid partners of YouTube. And so, growing through the past decade, things obviously have changed in the online space. And, everyone kind of settles into their niche and where they're best able to communicate with their audience. So I feel that Facebook is probably more beneficial for me in the sense of keeping in touch with my demographic, because I just feel that, especially Filipinos, not that you have to be Filipino to relate to my stuff, but they're mostly on Facebook and interacting and commenting and sharing on Facebook. I don't know any Filipinos, even in my family, that even look at their YouTube subscriptions, if they even know how to subscribe at all on there. So many of them don't even know they could subscribe to me on YouTube. So that's where it's gone in the last decade, is figuring out how you can best communicate with your audience, and what is it about your art that you would love the most. So for me, it is that live performance. So I'm finally, doing full force what I love the most.
I remember watching you like 10 or so ever since you started, and I loved your videos. I shared them with family, but I do think YouTube has changed definitely, throughout the years. So I'm glad that you still have Facebook as that platform, because I mean, we love your content. We love, your branding and how family friendly it is. Now, based on how much YouTube has changed, like how do you think it's changed you as an influencer? Like, since social media has changed so much, like how do you think you've changed? Or do you think that you've pretty much remained the same, but you just found another outlet?
So YouTube OG days, I was one of the first paid partners of YouTube. And so, growing through the past decade, things obviously have changed in the online space. And, everyone kind of settles into their niche and where they're best able to communicate with their audience. So I feel that Facebook is probably more beneficial for me in the sense of keeping in touch with my demographic, because I just feel that, especially Filipinos, not that you have to be Filipino to relate to my stuff, but they're mostly on Facebook and interacting and commenting and sharing on Facebook. I don't know any Filipinos, even in my family, that even look at their YouTube subscriptions, if they even know how to subscribe at all on there. So many of them don't even know they could subscribe to me on YouTube. So that's where it's gone in the last decade, is figuring out how you can best communicate with your audience, and what is it about your art that you would love the most. So for me, it is that live performance. So I'm finally, doing full force what I love the most.
I remember watching you like 10 or so ever since you started, and I loved your videos. I shared them with family, but I do think YouTube has changed definitely, throughout the years. So I'm glad that you still have Facebook as that platform, because I mean, we love your content. We love, your branding and how family friendly it is. Now, based on how much YouTube has changed, like how do you think it's changed you as an influencer? Like, since social media has changed so much, like how do you think you've changed? Or do you think that you've pretty much remained the same, but you just found another outlet?
Yeah, I think I'm pretty much the same. I mean, character-wise, it was good to experience the highs and lows of kind of, if someone were to just observe the YouTube culture, they might think, well, she just dropped off the face of the earth, which, in one sense you could think, oh, if I have a show, no one's going to show up. And that was a fear of mine, because the less videos I made, I'm thinking out of sight, out of mind. Who's going to show up to a show? So I didn't really have the confidence to form my own tour until I did a TFCU talks at UC Davis last year. And it was the first public event in a while after having the 4 kids, which I was proud of, because that's where I purposely chose to invest my time in the kids. And so less videos, like more attention on the kids, but still having that creative drive. You still have that whatever gifts God has given you. And so you just have different seasons in your life of when you're going to use those gifts. It challenged my character in the sense of not putting all my eggs in one basket, like saying, oh, my worth is tied into my online identity, for example. It's good for that to be tested, because I just feel like God is sovereign over everything, and he wants to make sure that I'm not putting all my faith in something, some career, some identity that way, but rather that he will direct everything, because his plans are better than mine. Yes. And so I feel that's how I've grown through it all, is just continually being reminded to fix my eyes on him. And so through that, I've been able to just hold it loosely and walk through whatever doors open for me. So yes, you're intentional about some steps you're going to take, but you're also not like, everything is wrapped into this, and if I don't get it, it's like whatever, So when I did the UC Davis talk, I thought, well, I'll put it out on social media, but I doubt anyone will come. Out of sight, out of mind, who's going to show up? But I was amazed at the amount of people that showed up and the connection though that they have with me. So that's what encouraged me, and sort of I felt at that time God's sign to me that, you know what, I'm not done with you on this level and with this material. And yes, there's a connection, and from there, that's when I started getting proactive about planning the tour.
I'm so happy that you're doing this. I feel a connection with you too.
Connected to you too.
Yay. I feel like, you're a relative of mine, and
that's what I want
yes.
everyone to feel at the show is like, hey, we're
yes.
a family just laughing together. That's what I enjoy.
That's exactly what it was at your Brea show. I went there with my husband, and I really felt like we were just all hanging out with relatives and watching our funny Filipina cousin.
Yeah.
So I am so happy about that. Christine, how do you balance being a mom, being a wife, and also following your dreams?
Oh, good one. Yeah. If I didn't hire my friend she's like a little sister to me. So she also is my assistant. If I didn't have her, I don't think I could juggle everything that I'm doing, because I homeschool too. So Oh my gosh. That's why I'm saying I need an assistant.
What?
I need an assistant if I'm going to be doing that. But also if you're going to be on tour and I want to bring the family with me, right? So we had to kind of get in. I've been homeschooling though for the last 6 years. So, but to continue that and to bring on the tour stuff was okay. I had to bring her on board to help me with the more practical things so that I can focus on the kids and the priorities and things like that. So that's the secret there.
And your husband has been totally supportive, as we've seen.
Sure, absolutely. I mean, he's holding down the fort right now as I do these 4 shows. And Lizella is with me now, but my husband is holding down the fort and doing everything to support whatever he feels also that God is orchestrating. And so this has been a long journey. I've been trying to do acting for so many years, but for it to culminate into this, I could have never planned it. His plans are definitely better than anything I could think of.
Where do you envision yourself 10 years from now? Where do you see HappySlip?
Wow, that's a good question. I really take it step by step. I don't have any long range plans. I'm sure some people would say, well, that's dumb. You should have long range goals or whatever. But I just want to focus on the priorities of building into the eternal things. So for me, that's focusing on God, family, church, and then comedy, however that can fit into the scene, and spreading joy and helping others. Those are main things. How that plays out and what it will look like, I have no idea what that will materialize into, but I don't have any goals of I need to be on TV, I need to be in film, I don't really have those goals. I'm just if God wants me to be on a TV show, then he's going to have to do it, Yes. I just like to make people laugh, and if it helps the family out too, then good. And that's all I'm looking at, really looking at each step as I take it with his light, shining the way. Sometimes you don't see the whole path, but he's also the lamp to our feet. So it's literally taking each step with his lamp at my feet. Yeah.
Christine, I adore you. I love how you share your faith and your trust, and I just am so happy for everything that's going your way, and I can see, so much more in store for you. So, Christine, is there any Filipino influencer right now that you're a fan of?
Well, the first one that pops into mind is who is going to open for me tonight at the Ontario Improv. So that's RJ Ganadin, Random Ridge on the internet, or Random Ridge on Instagram. Dude is hilarious. And we share the same values, so it's just fun to see everything in the same way, in the same light, and understand where each other's coming from. But before I even knew any of that about him, he just makes me laugh, roll. And anything he does, I'm like, oh my gosh, he's crazy. He's crazy. There's somebody else that's crazy. So, yeah, so I can't wait, because tonight, he's going to open up for me. So, yeah, and I think you're going to interview him too, I think. Yeah. Yay!
Do you watch Jeppy Paraiso? Because I can imagine you guys collaborating someday.
Yes, Jeppy also was so nice to give us a little shout out today. He was like, wishing us good luck on the stage today and giving his best wishes. So, yeah, he also spreads the joy with his characters too and his humor. So we're all just rooting each other on. We're like, Filipinos represent. So it's so cool to have that community.
What would you like to say for all of your supporters and fans out there?
Oh, thank you so much, first of all. But yeah, I mean, if I had any words to say to people, just that really, I probably redundant on but maybe wrapping up everything that we've been talking about is that if anything I would want to be remembered or known for is just not trusting in myself, but just trusting that God will, it's not about, he'll give me success. If I trust him, he'll give me success. It's not that. It's not the message that I want. But that really, whether I have much, whether I have little, whether I'm, whatever direction he wants to put me, that's my joy. And so whatever joy that people have, how that comes out in our different gifts, I might be a comedian, you might be a journalist, an interviewer, whatever talents he's given you, it's like shine in that and take joy in that, and you will feel fulfilled in that because of him being the answer, like not finding joy in anything else because it will not satisfy. So that's what I would just want to say is like all these years of life now people will be like, oh, so do you feel so successful now because you're doing this and you're doing that? And I'm like, if he took it all away today, I'd be like, whatever your will is, Lord, because I don't want anything that's, you know what I mean, that he doesn't have in his plan, because I know that it's only really found in him, the true joy. So
You're beautiful inside and out. Thank you.